Can you hear me now? Okay, that was something I was not expecting. Sorry about that, guys. I've been in for like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and nobody told me you couldn't hear me. So thank you for somebody chatting with me and telling me they couldn't hear me. Okay, I really, really appreciate it. You guys love it when I'm talking to myself. Okay, so I did see all the comments that came in just a minute ago or so that you could see me. And Cordelia noticed that I had a kitty. And Daisy says, oh, we can't, Elizabeth says we can't hear you. And then Daisy says, but she looks happy. Well, I was got a little happy because I've been working on trying to get the setup done a little bit different. What I want to try to do going forward is make it engagement, make my lives engaging and fun for you guys. You know, I love you guys and I love you having me here and everything. But I also want to try to make it more engaging for some of the folks that haven't seen our group before, haven't dropped in on the live, and want to hang out for the replay. So I'm going to try to change it up just a little bit. So I hope you'll bear with me on that while I experiment with some things. And I just noticed that my headset is crooked. Anyhow, yes, thank you, Maureen. I see you tried. My problem is I didn't scroll down enough, so sorry about that. My hubby, I just heard the door, so it looks like he just popped back in. Is the music, I don't think the music can be heard at all. And would you rather not hear any music? I'm adjusting the sound a little bit. And I just didn't realize I had my mic turned off again. That kind of sucks. Okay. So looking back up the chat to see if I said, if I need to say something I didn't say before. I do want to welcome everybody for being here, and thank you so much for hopping in. I saw that Daisy is going to be making tags, so she said yay for tags. Everybody is saying hello, and you can see the legs out there now. Say hello. So the gladiator is still, he just walked in from riding his bike, so he's still in his bike jersey. And just going to scroll down. Other than saying hello to all of you guys and you guys telling me no sound, I think I pretty much covered it. TR says, wonder if we turned on closed captioning if that would work. Oh my goodness. I am thinking about adding a chat box to the live itself, but I don't want to take up too much of the screen. I've tried it a couple of times, and you guys didn't like what was on there before, so I'm going to have to see if I can tweak it in any way that makes it easier to see. Okay. Going back down. Okay, Pam says prefers no music. Monica Taylor is in, so hello, Miss Monica. And if you missed it, Monica did a studio, kind of a studio walkthrough Sunday. My days are mixed up. I was on a plane yesterday. And I see we have Dana. So welcome, Dana, and thank you so much for telling us that this is your first time in. Monica says, hi, hubby. He's already gone to take a shower. Okay. Says we really thought that he dressed like that all the time. That is too funny. You guys are awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to ask is if you have any questions while I'm going on, put a Q in front of your question on the chat. Like I said, I'm trying something a little bit different, and hopefully it'll work. And you guys are just going to have to give me your feedback on it, just like I always ask you to do. I always want to know what you guys think so that I can try to tweak this and make it just a little bit better every time if I can. And last week was pretty much all seat of my pants, just hanging out, you know, craft and chat. And I'm thinking of doing a second live each week that is basically just craft and chat. So if that's something that you guys think that you'd be interested in seeing a second day of the week, maybe on like a casual Friday kind of thing, middle of the afternoon, or like right after lunch, something like that, let me know. Go ahead and put something in the chat for that. And I'd also love it if you would maybe add a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get started. Like I said, I'm going to try to do something different, but you know how when you try to talk different or say something different, it always messes up. So we will see how that goes. Thank you, Pam. I do see the cue. Woo! And Make It With Me is Debbie Smith is in the house. She is cutting out her tags now. And Daisy wanted to know if the kitties were mad. We're actually surprised. Maybe it's because the temperature dropped right before we got home, but they've been a lot more friendly and they've been happier to see us, so that is a good thing. I mean, you guys got to at least see one of them. I mean, when we first walked in the house, they ran off and hid behind my husband's desk. But as soon as we got them out, they wanted all the scritches and stuff. And last night we got home about like 10:30, 11 o'clock, so we were ready to go to sleep. No unpacking, no nothing. And one of the cats jumped up on the couch to wait for her scritches, which she didn't get. Instead, she had to wait until Todd got up this morning. So anyway, let me go ahead and see about kind of doing my little transition thing. Like I said, I'm not real sure how I'm doing or what I'm doing, but we will see how this goes. And then you guys, of course, can let me know your opinion on it. If it's too jerky, whatever, you guys let me know. Or if when you watch the replay, if it's something that you think that you would be interested in. Because what I think probably happens was if I go into a live and I don't know the person and I don't see anything interesting at the beginning, I may not watch into any of the interesting stuff. And I would like to have more folks come and hang out with us, like over in the group, over here in the chat, because you guys always have a blast. So give me just a second, and I'm going to try to shift gears inside my brain and see how that goes. So welcome to Debbie J's Crafting Corner. If you don't know me, I'm Debbie, and I like to create and craft cards and all things paper crafting to try to help you and help inspire you to create too, because if I can make it, you can too. Today we're going to be making some tags, so I've got out a bunch of my tag dies, and you don't have to have a die to make a tag. I'll show you some different ways to do that. And I'm also pulling out a bunch of my backgrounds that I made over the last week or so I can try to use some of those up. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera and we're going to get started. If I can grab the right mouse. Okay, so now I got my plot laid down. So first I do want to say welcome to everybody. If you're new, please comment new and down in the chat. I would really appreciate it. I'd love to get to know you. Also, if you are in the chat, be sure to turn on live chat and say hello over there. Because, you know, that way you can see all the things, all the fun things that are going on in the chat. So here are some of the dies that I've got. And you could use any tag die to make your tags. What we're pretty much doing is adding a decorative element, personalized to be able to be given to our friends and family. So I've got some of my favorite things, Tag Builder Blueprints 6, I think. This one is one of the heart ones from My Favorite Things also. I don't know where these came from, but I've got a couple of different tag sets here. There's just a nested tag and a shaped tag. Again, a lot of these things, I don't know where they came from. This one, I think this one's also My Favorite Things, and I don't know where these came from, but they're kind of cool with a little embossed piece there too. So I've got a bunch of things to play with. But like I said, you don't have to make your tags using a die. So I think I'm going to start off with this piece. This is actually a spare, or the extra that I had when I made this panel using some lunar paste about a little over a week ago when I was over crafting with Biddy Penny. I don't see her in the chat yet, but I'm sure she'll be popping in. I lucked out. I went to Austin to visit relatives, and Biddy Penny just happens to live in the area, and so does Erin Reed. So the two ladies agreed to meet up and kind of do a craft and chat kind of thing, and it was a blast. And I used some of, this is from one of the stamp sets that Biddy Penny had. I don't remember the name of it, but if I do remember or ask her about it, I can always leave a comment down in the, I can always leave it in the description and let you guys know. I'm going to take this banner off now because you don't really need that anymore. And if I'm talking too fast, please let me know in the chat. I have been up until about the... it says Monica. One of the folks over in the chat says that Monica Taylor has the power. Look out, everyone. She is awesome. So anyway, this is one of the panels that I made when I was with her. It was, I think most of the stuff we were playing with was from Scrappy Tales, but she'll have to correct me on that. But it is a curvy, kind of a stitched border die that I did that piece. And then after the fact, after I got home, I went ahead and colored these up. So my thought was I would put them like on my card. But I also have this extra strip here. Now, it's watercolor paper, so it is kind of thick, which is great. But I could use one of my dies. Let's see. I think I'm going to use one of these regular nested dies for this. And just see which ones would fit. This one will fit. Sort of. I also have not used my Gemini Junior since I got back, and I just got back. So I think what I'm going to do for the front is I'm going to cut one tag out of this, and then I think the next size larger out of some white cardstock, heavyweight cardstock, and do like 2 of those. That way I've got a good backing. One thing I like is I'm going to go ahead and interrupt myself here because Daisy just had a note on here. She's saying that My Favorite Things has a site-wide sale, 35% off today only. There is a fabulous tag builder set. I think I may have an affiliate link with them, but I'm not sure, but don't worry about it. I think I will. What I will do, though, is I will see if I can find those blueprint stitched tag builders and see if I can get that put in the comments for you guys in a bit. Not at the moment, because I want to go ahead and get this part done. I do want to pull up my YouTube if I can. I should have done that before I started over. And I've got 2 mice on my desk. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut out one with some heavyweight cardstock, which I thought I still had some. I have not cleaned up all the stuff around my desk since I got back. And I lucked out. I did happen to have one. And since these are tags, we don't really have to worry about what size paper, but I tend to go with the 5.5 by 4 1/4 whenever I'm using my die cutting machine. Mostly because it fits well on the plates. And it's something that I'm more accustomed with because of all the cards I make that are that size. So I'll do that one of this, and then I'll do this smaller one here. And what do I want it to look like? Doesn't really matter. That's kind of a cool background, so I do like that one. And Elizabeth, thank you, honey. She's asking for a thumbs up from everyone and a live chitty chat. I like the way you said that. That is too cute. And as a reminder, Miss Elizabeth also has a live stream tonight, and yours, I believe, is at 9 p.m. Eastern. Correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Elizabeth. So I'm just taping it in place because I kind of want to keep it with that image and don't want it shifting around. I do have the magic mat, and that makes it a lot easier because everything stays flat on this. I absolutely love it. So I'll do that one. And then for this, I'm trying to find a way that I can fit them both on here. And I would say you can't. So I'm just going to cut off the excess. And then I can run them both through my Gemini Junior. Okay. So since this is heavyweight cardstock, you could just use this one tag and decorate it however you want. But what I like to do is, I like to make sure that my tags and cards and ornaments, all that good stuff, is pretty sturdy. I do not like flimsy paper when it comes to that, so that's why I'm going to be layering it up. And Elizabeth did confirm she is going to be on around 9 p.m. Eastern today. We were just in another live that she just did where Simon Hurley was in the house, and he's going to be doing another one tonight. I believe that one's at 7, and I think we've got tea from... I know there was another one where someone else has a live stream like right after mine, like at 6:30 Eastern. So I am going to try to keep this one within that shorter time frame if I can, so you guys can go check that out. So what I think would be really cute on this would be to have these nested. And you notice the little circle didn't cut out, but that's perfectly fine. We can have those nested and then maybe put a cup on there or both. Actually, I think I'm going to do that, and I'll use this for a different card. And again, you can use any of your tag dies, or you can just use a piece of cardstock for this. It is real easy to make a tag shape out of just some cardstock and using your paper trimmer or your scissors even. You don't have to have all the tools. What the good thing about all the fun tools are is, number one, they are fun, but the other thing is that they make the jobs just so much quicker and easier. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add those. I'm going to add them using some foam tape. And again, I am hunting for all of my stuff because everything got kind of pushed around right before I went out of town because I was trying to gather up what things I could take with me. And I think I'm going to cut a couple little pieces so that the thinner pieces can be popped up too. And of course, all of this part is totally optional. You do what you feel like. You know, you do you, guys. Okay, so Elizabeth says that Simon is going to be at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So when he gets done is when her live is basically scheduled for, because he usually goes about an hour, but if he does run late, she said that she would start a little bit late for him. And you are absolutely right. Elizabeth was mentioning, and yes, she is in the chat. And if you are watching the replay, see about dropping by at some point during our live streams, because we do have a lot of fun folks over in the chat, and they love hanging out, and they've got a lot of knowledge between them all. They're some of my best buds. Most of them are over in my Facebook group too. That's Crafting with Debbie, and I invite you to go over and check that out as well. Be sure, though, when you sign up to pop into the group that you answer all of the membership questions. If you do not answer the membership questions, you do not get in. Oh, I love this little gingerbread man. That is too cute. And I'm going to pop him up, too. Again, you don't have to do this. It does make it a little bit harder sometimes on tags. Makes it a little bit more, I don't know, more dimensional, and people do really like those. And, oh, there's my other piece. So I like adding dimension to pretty much everything, and the foam tape that I'm using really isn't that thick, so it doesn't add too much. That still makes everything nice and cute and adds a little bit of depth to it. Okay, so there we go with that one. So the reason that I cut out a second one is that whenever you're making a tag, number one, I mentioned that I like having them nice and sturdy. But you also want a place that you can stamp or write something on the back. So if you're going to use a stamp set to stamp out to and from, I would recommend, stamping that piece first, because it's going to be harder to do it once you have anything on this side, whether you've added dimension to it or not. If you're just going to write on it, then there's no problem. You can just write to and from on it and you are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and glue these guys together. Before that, though, I'm going to pop out this little hole. Like I said, the holes stayed in on these when they were cut out. But that's also going to help me line them up exactly straight. And it gives me a place to put my ribbon or twine, whatever you want to use for that. And I do believe I have some over here. Let me check and see what color it is, though. This one's blue and white. Do I have any red over here? Give me just a second, because I know I've got some red ribbon over here somewhere. Okay, so I do have some red ribbon that I can use. I don't want to have it too long, but I do want it long enough. That should be fine. And I'm also looking for the threaders that I usually use. I may not have unpacked those yet, but I think I might have another one over here. If not, I will find another way to put that through. I tend to use basically little flossers to go through small holes. Makes it a lot easier for me to do it. And it's a little easier on my eyes too. Yeah, I am going to need something to help me with this. So instead, what I'm going to try to do is hold them and then try to pull them through with my reverse tweezers and see if that works. Like I said, that other method always works for me, but this time I don't have them right here at my desk. Okay, but that worked fine. So what you're going to want to do is pull the middle through and then pull the tails through that. And now we have our first Christmas tag done. I did mention to you, though, that you don't have to have a die to do this. So let's go ahead and see how you would do that if you don't have those tools. Because I know that everyone is at some different level of crafting. So some of you may have die cutting machines, some of you may not. So I would say this one that we just did was right around 2 1/4 inches. So let's go ahead and make this about the same. So I'm going to cut a piece of 2 1/4 inch piece of cardstock. This is heavyweight cardstock. So as I mentioned, you don't have to add a backing to it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to trim off a little triangle up at the top. Now it's up to you how you want to do this. What I do is I just line it up in my paper trimmer wherever it is that I want. At whatever angle. I think that's too steep a little bit. I do like kind of a little bit of a shorter one, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to cut out a second one, because if you're making a tag, you might as well make more than one, right? So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to cut it at 2 1/4. But then I'm going to line these up and take a pencil and just draw a line right there. And no, it doesn't need to be a colored pencil. This was just what I had handy. Then you flip it over line it up again, and do the same thing on that side. Now this one only had the one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim one of these right on that line. And again, you can use your scissors for this. You don't have to use a paper trimmer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then line them up again on this one and draw another line. So now you've got two tags that are in the same shape. And I'd say if you're going to do more, just save one of your templates to use on your next one. Or if you're doing like me and you want to layer things up, you could always layer these together. But they don't have a hole in the end, so what you'll want to do is you'll want to take a hole punch of some sort. If it's strong enough, you can do the punching through both of them at the same time. And that I think is a little bit too far, so I'm going to push it up a little bit. So I think I'm going to go about a 1/4 inch in, try to lie it, just eyeball it. And I, of course, picked the wrong size. That one is too small of a hole for me. You saw how much trouble I had just getting that the ribbon through the other one. So I'm going to just replace it. Again, move it up a little bit. Replace that hole with a larger one. And now I've got a place to put my ribbon. And if it's a little bit off to the side, it doesn't have to be perfect. These are handmade. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through some of the panels that I was playing with and see what do I want to use. Because I really like all of these and I think they all need to be cards, but they don't have to be. Any kind of a background would work. I think I'm going to go with the pink purple. Haven't done that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim this panel basically to fit the front of my tag there. And because I like that white border, I'm going to cut it smaller than the 2.5 inches wide. So I'm going to cut it about 2 inches, but I'm going to first cut off this extra white that's on the side. Then I can cut it at about 2 inches. Actually, a little bit more. I want to cut a little bit more off of that. So I'll cut it there. And then on this side too, just trimming it down. And then this tag was right at 4 1/4, so I'm going to cut this piece to 4 inches. And then this time I'm going to line it up on here. I'm going to try lining it up about center with a little bit of a gap up at the top. Try to have it pretty much straight. And you could always tack it down with some washi tape or something if you want. I'm going to go ahead and just draw those little lines. Use this as a template and then trim them off. So now I have a tag shaped panel to go on my other. And yes, I will need to go back and actually I need to trim it a little bit more. That's a little too close. So since that's already cut, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it out and just try cutting about 1/8 of an inch off of both pieces and line it up pretty much parallel with what I had already. And see how that looks. I think that's close enough, and I will just trim a little off of the end. So we could go with that. And then now, then you could just decorate it. You could do this with any kind of patterned paper or backgrounds that you have. But what I'm going to do, if I think I've got them in here. I took a bunch of stencils with me when I went out of town. So let me grab one of my stencils. And where is it? I'm looking for, there's the one I want. I want the snowflakes. So I am going to do something that I had also done I did a little bit of this last week, but then I saw also on Elizabeth's video earlier today that she was doing the same kind of thing. She did some stamping and stenciling and Simon Hurley lunar paste. So what I think I'm going to do with this guy, I have a little bit of sticky on the other side of this. I'm going to just put him down there and then tack him in place with some tape. Okay, so I'm glancing back up at the chat, and I'm seeing someone say that silent viewers are typically the majority and deserve a shout out, and you're absolutely right, Miss Biddy Penny. I do want to make sure that all of the folks that are sticking around and watching the replay are enjoying the live stream, and I would love for them to all come back and hang out with us. So I'm going to tack it down on all four sides because I'm going to try not to do something I did before on another one of my panels, and that is get some of the lunar paste underneath. And it does have a little tack to it, so I did use some stencil spray on it at one point, but it's been probably weeks since the last time I did that. And I do have some different colors that would go good on this. So I've got the red, which is bee sting, and that would go good with the purple. And so would the blue. This one is, if I can see, clear skies. Both of those are pretty, but I think you guys know I'm in love with the gold. I absolutely love this one. So I'm going to add some of this on there. And I'm just taking a little palette knife. Actually, I'm going to use one of my nice ones. This is a plastic one, which the edges, I don't know what I did, but it's like the plastic edges just are not that good anymore. This one, at least, it's all nice and smooth. And you can either smooth it on smooth, or you could also, you know, pounce it on with a blending foam. There's so many different ways you can apply this stuff. So I'm just adding a little bit of this gold to the front of this, through all of those, through the stencil that's going to add all these pretty snowflakes to it. And most years I don't really use a stencil that much, but I have used this one stencil so many times already, it is not even funny. Okay. And then I'm going to just take it off. Here's another reason why you want to use a backing. It's because right now, if this was going to be my entire tag, you'd think it was ruined on the back because now it has lunar paste on the back of it. And I need to find a place that does not have any lunar paste on it. Actually, I'm just going to grab the tape to pull this off. And the lunar paste does clean up pretty easily, and I have been impressed that I was able to even scrub this with a silicone scrubber, and it didn't really hurt the stencil. So this is kind of what that's going to look like, and that's a good cool background. So I'm going to set that to the side so it can dry. It doesn't take long with the lunar paste, but it still needs a little bit of drying time. And like I mentioned, I'm still having to find things. Okay, so cleaning up some of this. And like I said, it does clean up pretty fast. Now the places that you see, you probably see some pink on here. That is because I used some of the red, some of the bee sting, and I didn't get it all off, and then I had to go back and try to scrub it off. But it's still, the stencil is still usable. It's not blocking any of the holes. You can still use things over it, and that works fine. Okay. So while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and adhere these two guys together. And I'm also checking the clock. It is 6:09 right now, because I don't want to run over T's The next live stream is supposed to start right around 6:30, and I don't want you guys to miss any of that if we can avoid it. Okay, so those are good. So while those are getting all ready, we can start working on another one. Like I said, I've got a ton of different tags, and you don't have to make a variety. You can always just make one type and go with it. This one, these sets, these are some of the MFT tag builders, and they've got a bunch of circles and a lot of different things you can use inside of them, including some little reinforcers and little banners and things like that. What I'm going to use, I'm just going to use this round one that is just the round shape and the stitching in the center, and I think I'm also going to use this little banner die. What I'll do is I'll cut out some extras of the little banner die, and then I can later on go back and stamp those before attaching them to my tag, and then it'll have, you know, like a cute little Merry Christmas message on there. And I'm going to try not to mix up all my stuff. It also has the capability of making a shaker, which is one reason why it has all these cute little pieces. You've got stars and circles and little hearts to go inside. So those are kind of cool. And I may do that on another video later on. So still working on that same first piece of heavyweight cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a couple of these little guys. Actually, while I'm doing that, let me cut this one in half because I want to do something else with the other piece. So I'll start off with just cutting a couple of these little circles out. Okay, and then I glance over into the chat, guys, and I see that, again, the conversation has moved on to food. So Elizabeth is having, I'm sorry, I saw that lasagna is on the menu for Miss Monica, and Cordelia wants pork chops, and Cordelia wants lasagna. Everybody is planning on heading over to Monica's house for dinner. So I've got a couple of those little guys cut out, and I think I'm going to also cut out a couple more of those tag-shaped ones. Because I realized that there was another idea that I had for that I haven't done yet. Actually, it's one that I did last year, and it was so cool. So I'm going to go ahead and cut two of these. I can cut the backer later after we are all done. Go ahead and send these through. And Monica says, come on over. She made a big batch of lasagna. Awesomeness. Okay, so what I'm going to use next, and try not to get into any of the wet lunar paste, is I'm going to use an embossing folder. Let's see. Okay, green is for Christmas. So I've got a sweater. I've got, ooh, I like this one. So this one is Paper Studio Holly, so that would be nice. It's a Merry Christmas one, but my tags are not quite big enough to hold that. Santa Sleigh is not the right size. This one is some pretty snowflakes, and that would be good. But to be honest, this is the one I think I'm going to use again, because this one is the one I used last year, and I absolutely loved how everything turned out. Everything that embossing folder touched just was gorgeous. So I'm going to take the smaller, so I'm going to layer it up just like I did this guy. I'm going to take the smaller of the tags and run that through my Gemini Junior with my embossing folder. And I'm still not real good on knowing what the sandwich is, so it may take me a couple of attempts to get this. So I'm going to arrange it kind of sort of where I want it. Let's see, I want... Here's another thing. When you're doing your die cutting, there are rounded edges on the top. So when you put your die on top, it rounds the edges a little bit, and that kind of gives it a clean look. And I want the raised part to be on that part. So that means I'm going to want the part that is basically smooth and has all of the little dents going down to be against that piece. So I need to basically have it face down onto the smoother side. And then I can run it through my Gemini Junior like that. I think I just need the 2 plates instead of all 3. So let's give that one a shot and see how that works. When it comes to your die cutting machines, you basically just have to experiment and see what works. No, that does not have enough pressure. So I must have been remembering with the last time I tried to do one of my 3D embossing folders. Okay, so nope, this one is not wanting to go through there either. Come on. And the Gemini Junior does have a reverse button. So I can pull it back out because it doesn't want to go through. Okay. So I'm checking for shims. We'll try this one more time. Maybe it just didn't get far enough in. Doesn't feel like it's really doing anything. So no, I don't see any kind of impression on there. So where is my rubber mat? I know I've got one in here somewhere. I think I'm going to try this time is a Sizzix plate and 2 2 magic mats and see if that goes through. You don't want to force it, but you do need to have enough pressure for it to go through. And this feels like it's got too much pressure, but it still was trying to grab it and make it go through. You probably hear it squealing. It's a good thing that these things do kind of straighten back out. So I got some embossing on one side, but not on the other. And you guys can't, yeah, there you go. You can see a little bit of that. Because it didn't go all the way through and it was too tight. So don't do that. Okay. So instead, I'm going to use this rubber embossing mat that usually you use if you're doing something like running a stencil or something through as a shim. As an embossing folder. This time it went through fine. So I've got to straighten out my magic mats. See if I have any kind of an impression on this. There we go. And T is laughing at me. So Not Afraid of Color, who has got the next live stream, laughed at me for what I did on my machine, or at least I think it was me. So you can see here, I think, trying to get it in there so you've got not quite so much glare. Okay, there we go. So this is one of the prettiest ones out of all of my embossing folders, and I've got a lot of them. So what I'm going to do this time, I think, to decorate it, I think I'm going to just use a cheap brush. And I really like the color, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the blue lunar paste just because it's pretty. And this is just a cheap craft brush. I'm just going to gently brush across the top. And try to just hit those raised edges. And if it goes over, that is fine. Like I've got a couple of little brush strokes down on the flat part of my paper, but you know what? It still kind of looks wispy. And again, I'm trying not to get my fingers in it. I don't want to mess up any of what I've got on there. And it doesn't take much. You can put as little or as much on there as you want. And I keep adding a little bit more, and that does wind up making a little bit more of that look on the background, but it's kind of a, I don't know. I like it. I don't know what you want to call that kind of look, but I think it's pretty. And then that one's going to go to the side. And since I have some of this blue out, I'm going to just kind of switch it around and turn it into almost a shimmer spray kind of watercolor paint. And I think I'm just going to go over one of these backgrounds. One of these circles. And that'll be pretty once it's dry too. We are getting pretty close to the next live stream, so I am going to finish up in just a minute, but let's take a look at what we've got so far. So this one was basically a spare part from another card panel that I made. So that means you could have a matching tag and card. And I used a couple of stamped images that I colored with some colored pencils on that. Betty, these are the ones that I stamped out when I was with you that I didn't finish. I did go back later and do that. So this turned out to be a real cute little tag. All it needs now is to have a to and from on the back, and it could be attached to a present or a box of cookies or something of that nature. This one I'm thinking is probably dry. Let me just check. Yeah, it feels like it is dry. So this one is the one that I just cut out of out of a panel that I had done previously with a cool background, then just added some gold to the front. Some gold snowflakes. Still being very careful with it to make sure, just on the safe side, because it might still be a little damp, but I think everything is dry on that. And this one, all I have to do is just adhere it to the front of this. Add a string to that, and that could be a tag in and of itself. You could also make your wrapping paper or another card to match. I really like the idea of a matching card and tags. I think that would be really cool. So that's the second one. This third one, I basically would layer up the same way as this. And I think that would be pretty on its own. And then this little guy, look at all that shimmer. And I am not liking the way that my camera looks. Let me see if I can fix that so you guys can see. This is really pretty. It's real light, but it is very, very shiny and shimmery, and it's just so pretty. I'm going to turn down the brightness a little bit. Now you can see a little bit of the color. Okay, now I think you can see a little bit of that shimmer and shine, but that would be very pretty, and you could add whatever you want to the front of that as well. Again, all of these are ones that all you need to do is just glue them together. I would say glue pretty side out, but glue them together, add your message on the back, and add whatever you want onto the front. And there's lots of different ways that you can make this with or without tag dies. Tag dies are great. They do speed up the process and give you a clean line every time, and some of them are pretty cool, like this one that's got the stitched edging, but they're not necessary. Like I said, this one, you don't have to have a die to be able to do that. You can just cut it out with your scissors or paper trimmer. So that is going to be it for today. So these are just a few different ways that you can make some tags. And I do want to share a little bit more with you guys for just a second before you run off to the next live stream. Here are a couple things that are coming up. This weekend, I have got a workshop that I'm doing. This is the virtual Christmas card workshop. That's going to be on the 4th, which is Saturday. And right now, I am having a discount on that. You get $5 off if you go ahead and sign up now. Janine, I don't know if I saw her in here, but Janine had mentioned that there was an issue with her trying to sign up because she was trying to sign up and she was in Canada. I did fix that, so it should work today. If it does not work, you guys let me know, and I will be seeing you guys at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for that virtual Christmas card workshop where we will be making these cute little gnomes. Next, we have, if I can get back to the right page. Of course, I can't get to the right page. Okay, so the next thing that just means that's another thing I need to fix. Okay, so also we have Miss Monica Taylor is going to be on with me next week. We're going to be doing, I believe, some multimedia Christmas cards. So be sure to drop back in for that. It's going to be 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. Same time, same channel, same place that we always get together. So can't wait to see you guys next week for that. So be sure to drop in with us next week, and you guys remember, if I can make it, you can too. Okay, guys, so that, I just finished up the part that's going to be for the replay. So thank you guys, all of you, for dropping in. I need to go back through the chat and see if you have any questions. So I'm able to, and I do know that next live stream for my brain is stopping again. It's working better than normal. You guys are actually able to understand me and me not mess up my words too badly tonight, so I'm excited. Let me look some more in the chat. I just moved my screen around a little bit so I could be looking at you and looking at the chat. Of course, I had to scroll back through all of you guys saying that I looked really happy talking to myself again. Okay, so Monica dropped in because she had finished working and needed some fun time. I do see one Q question. That's from Pam, who asked me if it would work, and it looked like it worked, but I don't know if anybody else has done a Q yet. So Not Afraid of Color is the one who has a live stream coming up in about 3 minutes. So you guys are going to want to head on over to there. Oh, and I did work. Thank you, Monica, for saying something about that. So you are now a moderator on my channel from what you just said. So that is awesome. I'm trying to find a way to make things go smoother and still just kind of do it on my own. I mean, Todd can't help me because he's out on his bicycle whenever we do this, right? Don't forget the sale at MFT. So we have Not Afraid of Color has her live stream in just a couple of minutes. Then we've got Simon Hurley, and then we've got Elizabeth Costa Rogers. So we've got a lot of lives again tonight. So that is super awesome. Monica's talking about her tech. Yeah, he needs to just go ahead and fix it for you. Tell him you don't want to wait till Christmas. Oh, and thank you, Miss Elizabeth, for adding the link to the link to my Facebook group in the chat. You were awesome. And Cordelia said, I like the idea of using old file folders. Yes, I've done that too. I cut up a bunch of them, and I wound up having them sit here because I didn't really use them all that much. But I do still have some file folders. We've got excess of file folders. I was cleaning out a drawer, and I came across a couple of big boxes full of them. So I still need to go through that. And then Biddy came in right around 6 to say hello to everybody. Like I said, I am just going through all of the chat to see what all is going on. And again, if you guys have any questions for me and want to ask me anything, go ahead and put that in the chat, and I will get down there in a second. Like I said, I'm about a half hour behind on the chat. Did we have a troll tonight? I just noticed something on here where Pamela said trolls are there for a negative reason, and you aren't usually quiet. You're so right. I have seen a few different trolls showing up. And apparently there was a Jinx you owe me a coat, because I just saw that from T with Not Afraid of Color. Okay, Crystal had fried chicken is what's for dinner. I want chicken fried rice too. We're having sausage tonight. We got home and there wasn't anything frozen. Everything was frozen, so we had to take out something, and that actually thawed out the fastest. Bitty Penny says, I make tags and we reuse them. That is a good idea. I still have a big stack of all those tags that I made last year with a bunch of that embossing. I'm going to have to share that with you guys at an upcoming live stream. It was so fun. Elizabeth likes that's a good snowflake stencil. Yeah, this one is from Simple Stories. But I find that it matches very well with the Simon Hurley stamp. I mean, that is just, you could do the same kind of design using the Simon Hurley background stamp, or the reverse using your stamping foam. Yes, I still have that same image. I've been using the same stamp for all of those reverse image ones forever. And I still kept the blanket, and I still have the stone walls, so I'm still using those. And Cordelia says, and we are now on food again. Yes. Daisy said she made Christmas tags out of previously received Christmas cards. My problem with Christmas cards is, like, I always keep them, but I don't do anything with them. I mean, I keep them, like, in a folder or something, and I still have some that are probably 10 years old, but I really need to use them. Elizabeth needs food in her belly. Yep, you guys were definitely talking food a half hour ago. I'm trying to get down to where you stopped talking about food. Got pizza, applesauce, and pork chops. I think I have heard of that before. A famous Brady Bunch episode. Okay, I'm getting down past the food. Okay, Bitty Penny said, Monica, I love the vintage Christmas printable we saw Elizabeth use in the Hop. It was fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Monica's digitals are fantastic. She's got a real cool vintage vibe for everything. And I was talking about you, Monica, to my in-laws. They came across some photos. It turns out that this was all that was basically everything that was out of these albums that were in a house down in Louisiana during one of the hurricanes, and this is all that was left. So they let me digitize those, so I'm going to see if I can channel my inner Monica and make something with some of those. And they said they were fine with me using them, so that is even better. I figure we're on a chat diet. We can talk about food but not eat it all. Pam, you are so funny. Okay, I am still going down this chat. I haven't even gotten to the part where I stopped talking card making or tag making and started just chatting back with you guys. Hello, Shay. So Shay popped in. That is awesome. So if you're in the chat and you showed up a little bit late, go back to the beginning and you'll be able to see all the fun tags that we made in all the beginning chat. I'd love to see you on the replay. And if anybody is in here still at this point that is new, please comment new in the chat so that we can meet you. Cheese and crackers. Oh my god, you guys were talking food for like 45 minutes. Yes, Elizabeth, I saw your video where you had lots of mica cleanup and it was gorgeous, and I of course didn't have anything out that I could really use that with because I was thinking black cardstock, that was nice. Bitty Penny, crafty confession, I bought another paper trimmer today. And some buttons and some upholstery fabric. I'm trying to remember, how many paper trimmers did you bring out when we got together? I think it was like 4. But it wasn't your huge one. And she loves the tag. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, Crystal. And thanks, T. Not afraid of color. It's like, thinks these are really pretty. And Cordelia's saying she hasn't tried her lunar paste yet. You gotta try it, honey. And I know that me looking at the camera is a little bit off. I keep noticing that I'm looking above it, and it looks like I don't know. It looks kind of weird. Right now I am, like I was doing last week, I am using my phone as a webcam using that Arian app, and it's working great. I mean, I'm gonna have to go back and watch and see if there's any kind of issues, like when an alert just went off on my phone to tell me that tomorrow is yard trash day. Todd, tomorrow is yard trash day. But I have an alert on there to let me know those kind of things so we don't forget. And it just happened to go off right now while I'm looking up there at the camera. Okay, Elizabeth is going to be there on the 4th, so just another reminder. I'm going to have to change this thing to make it do what I want it to do so that we get that virtual workshop back up on the screen. And myself back up on the screen. So we do have that virtual Christmas card workshop. I'm going to remind you guys one more time that is going to be on Saturday the 4th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And you still have time to sign up for that. And if you sign up today by midnight, you can get $5 off of the workshop. And Not Afraid of Color says, look at those notes. I love those little notes. That's actually, I've used it twice. You guys know, I've got too many things that I'm working on at any time. I don't have time really right now to go back and try to reuse some of the things. But these are so cute. I absolutely love these little notes. Pam's going to be on a plane, so she's not going to be in the workshop. Cordelia's going to be there. Crystal's going to be there. Thank you, guys. I'm thinking, oh boy, by Monica was probably about being with me next Tuesday on our live, so that's going to be awesome. Debbie said goodbye, and Monica wants to chat about technical stuff. And now I'm finally down to 6:26 p.m. where Pam was asking me, do I like cheese? Of course I like cheese. Oh, thank you, Daisy. I am trying to get better at this. I think getting to hang out and be around people where we all talked a lot got my verbal motors running again. You know what I mean? Because it has been very, very quiet in the house for a long time. Daisy said, oh my god, I thought that Pam was chatting to a silent watcher named Q. Okay, Daisy, what I had said, and if you're still here, you'll hear this, but what I had said is to please put a Q in front of what your comment is going to be, so when I scroll down, I can see the comments, the questions. Since I wasn't seeing any, I'm just scrolling down the whole thing to see what all is going on with you guys. Okay, Monica wants me to master it and help her. I am playing. This is for those of you guys that have got live streams of your own. I'm always trying to learn more and do more myself. You guys see that pretty much every week. So what I am planning on doing is also putting together some kind of a series to do, for teaching you guys how to do some of the things that I've discovered. So if you're interested in that, I'm more than happy to help, and I may put together some kind of like class or workshops or whatever. I don't know. I've got a lot of different thoughts in my head and can't get them all out at once, and I don't have a timeline on any of them, unfortunately. Okay, then Not Afraid of Color. T was off to prep. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I really appreciate it. And Bitty Penny was asking, are you happy to be home? Yes. We are and we're not. It's kind of like, we missed our kitties and missed being able to get back kind of to the normal. But it was great being there with my in-laws. I mean, they're fantastic. I mean, as soon as my computer broke, my mother-in-law told me that she would get me another one. So, you know, that was just so super sweet of her. And then we went back a couple days later, and Todd got a new tablet. So that's kind of our early Christmas. So just going back down again, I'm looking to see what Crystal's referring to. She said, no, we didn't. Don't know what that is. And then Pam says, at 6:30, tea is live. Bye. Cornelia says, gotta go. I hear my cat turning over the trash can. We always talk food. Absolutely. Okay, so just finishing up here. 2 and 1 broke. Not sure what you were referring to, Miss Toby, Miss Bitty Penny, but no worries. Well, you guys, thank you so much for dropping in and hanging out long enough for me to go back through the chats and get to say hello to everybody. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I'm going to finish up here, and I will be grabbing some food and then popping in over at Not Afraid of Colors live stream too, and then I'll see you guys over on Elizabeth's channel. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and remember, if I can make it, you can too. Have a great one. Bye-bye for now.